Welcome to another episode of Not for the Weak-Minded. This episode is about the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals, which have been incorporated into the classes of the universities across the country. Now, they, through the guise of all these agendas, want to change and save the world. However, they are going to do it by using technologies as, for example, Bill Gates wants to block out the sun with geoengineering to help stop global warming. So you got to bear in mind that they're going to use all this chaos around the world to bring in a new world order. And to do this, to get the world, which is ravaged by war and by famine and by just corruption, this agenda is going to be about peace. And so the Antichrist, if anything, is coming from the United Nations. It's not Donald Trump. It is part of the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals agendas. And so we're going to go through each one of these one by one, and I will discuss it as I go along. Now, to live in a world of no poverty, well, we would have to completely change our civilization to begin with, because the people in control of our society are the ones that are putting us in poverty to begin with, i.e. our governments, the institutions and corporations that are aligned with secret societies that have not got humanity's, or life in fact, self-interest of preservation. And so we need to abolish money to get rid of poverty. And so this economic system in which they have built is no longer going to be valuable towards the United Nations goals. So therefore, they are probably in some kind of cahoots with a new monetary system, which is wireless. If we wanted to end poverty, we would need to abolish money. We would need a new system in which where the lowest of people get fed, at least, get a house, get somewhere, a roof over their heads. More and more people today are becoming homeless that actually lived in this country and was born in their town in this country. So many English people are on the streets. It's unbelievable. So this goes together with hunger. We produce enough food to feed the world 3 times over, but it's the corruption of these institutions that have, monetized it for profit. Again, in the past, there was a contribution system where the poor was fed at least. We still kind of have that today with money, food banks, but that isn't the solution. The solution is actually to be self-sufficient, to have, let's say, knowledge in order to build a vertical farming in cities and allow that city to become self-sufficient and feed its own citizens. And that means all food gets shared out towards the city, and we don't need to import anything. These buildings hydroponic farms, let's call them, vertical hydroponic farms, have been proven through developers and stuff, and patterns and designs and architectural blueprints, that they use about 50% less water than we do on back farming, and the crop growth is very well. It's like, I can't even remember. It was like it's better than 50% yield indoors. But who then, if we were to build these things, these vertical farms, would control the food? Who gets what? You see, that comes with a whole new set of principles, I suppose. And so it comes into what kind of food we're going to be growing in these vertical farms to give us good health and well-being. And so the food around us today, well, it's all GMO'd, it's all poisoned, it's all got additives in it, it's all got chemicals in it, and it's all making us sick for profit. So the education system is not quality, because unfortunately it has been corrupted for centuries. And in all honesty, history starts with the Bible. To prove it or to disprove it and to prove it wrong. And ever since the 1800s, the Bible has played front row center of history. It's played front row of center of all the things we see in our life today, except for you don't see it, as my videos are trying to show you, the biblical references and how the Bible, albeit is changed from its original source, the Sumerian literature, tells you truth. You are created. This earth is created. The flood did happen. The giants did walk the earth. Still do. So this gets into the education system today. The LGBT movement and gender equality, androgyny. The problem is a lot of people don't see that the core of our society is these transvestite paedophiles that have been putting all their ideologies into and their beliefs into everything they see and do in this world. We have been manipulated, lied to, schemed upon. It's unbelievable. I mean, people walking around accepting this world for what it is, and I can never do that. I see what it is. It's a mess. So they want clean water and sanitation. Who's poisoning the water exactly? Well, they are. They're putting fluoride in your water. And that is all to make you docile. That's all to make you not see this world and to not be spiritually awakened. But truth can wake you. And all I'm trying to do is give you the truth. And so the second biggest industry that's polluting the waters is the fashion industry. And who's really in control of that again? Well, these same corrupt institutions and organizations that have been abusing other nations so that we can have clothes, but those third world countries just live on the borderline of poverty, even though they've got a job. And then we wonder, why do people come here? Because, well, we have a better way of life here, but it's still a false perception of peace. So affordable and clean energy. Sorry, let's go back to water. We need to clean the water up, right? All the plastic in the ocean, there's no ocean, all the plastic in the rivers and the seas and the lakes. We need to clean it up, right? So how are they going to propose to do that? question. Affordable and clean energy. Well, this is getting into the topic of Nikola Tesla now, the power of 3, 6, and 9, and free energy. But they know this, and they're using the same knowledge, but it's a deceptive trap, because they're going to give you free energy from low Earth orbit, all right? They're going to turn off the power, and they're going to give you free energy from low Earth orbit. Meanwhile, the devices around you, if you've took technology, will be literally controlling you because you're stupid. Get that RFID chip out of your hand right now, if you've got one in. I'm warning you. Decent work and economic growth. Yeah, that kind of goes against what they're doing though, isn't it? Because if you want no poverty, you got to get rid of money, and therefore we don't have an economy anymore, right? So decent work, well, work will just be work because it'll be the necessary things we need to do to survive, the things we need to do to help each other. We do that anyway. Most people don't go work for their bosses. They go to work because they're colleagues. So industry, innovation, and infrastructure. So what they're saying is here is they're going to get decent, they're going to get rid of certain jobs, certain sectors, and just like in the past, you're going to get retrained in other sectors, and they're going to build a new economy based on that sector. New industries, new innovations, and new infrastructure from a new sector. I wonder what that sector is going to be. Free energy, anyone? Free energy that doesn't kill you, please? That can actually cure all diseases rather than actually, control humanity? Reduced inequalities. Just goes with all the other things I'm saying. The only ones that we don't have any real equality. The population. Because we're manipulated. They've divided us, They've put nation against nation. Sustainable cities and communities. Right, so this is getting into their smart cities. They plan, and I'm sorry to say this, but if you live in major populated cities, time is to get out soon because Arnold Schwarzenegger says so. Get out. So I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that is just like an inkling to me to tells them to get out of the major cities because they're going to bomb them with their low Earth orbit craft that you don't know about. Meanwhile, that most of those people will run towards the government still, that doesn't die, and essentially, not in this country anyway, but in others, they'll get rounded up and moved to smart cities. Right, cities that are literally already built in the middle of nowhere, in some cases, that is going to house millions of people. Huh? So that's what you got to bear in mind, is they've built that for a reason. And the whole reason is because there's something that's going to happen to this side, which is going to force a lot of people to move. And those people that trust the government still, wow, they're in for another world of shit. Because all the things I'm talking about, I don't have a timeline for it. I can't give you dates. You can never know exactly where we are in time. Climate action. So as I said at the start, let me go back to the other one, 12. Responsible consumption and production. The infinity symbol. Who should have been regulated from day one with their plastics? Who blames us for their irresponsible manufacturing practices, that they didn't have a way to dispose of plastic But even now, properly, before it was used, they didn't care. They never cared. All they care about is destroying the created earth from which you were meant to be protecting. Because you're created too, but you got to see that. You got to go past all the things that you believe to know all the things that you don't currently know to be true. Like just what I'm about to say now in climate action, which is the all-seeing eye, the globe earth nonsense. Global warming. It's nonsense. It's geoengineering, and they want to try and save the planet through geoengineering, but they've been geoengineering for, well, at least the 60s. Because if you look up the Vietnam War, they did flood the Ho Chi Minh Trail. They did do cloud seeding technologies in the 60s. Our government during the 60s did spray populations with germs from planes. It's been going on ever since World War II. Things changed for our country, and every generation after a war changes dramatically every time. They planned things well in advance, and you got to be well prepared for what's coming next. So, life below water. That one has very interesting symbol to it, with the fish under the water. But the fish is Pisces, and Pisces is connected to the Golden Age and Enki, I'd say, and Jesus, because Enki, well, his son Enki died for the sins of humanity, right? In the Sumerian literature, it's the same story. Half man. And so, are they saying that they're going to flood the earth and that we're going to have to get used to living in some way underwater? That's interesting. Also, does it relate to Poseidon and other things in our world today living underwater, like where USOs come into the affray here, underwater submersible objects? Extraterrestrials? Life on land? Well, they're murdering it. Absolutely mass genocide of everything. It ain't global warming. It's them using the knowledge of creation to destroy creation. Something that we actually helped build a while back in time for, if you actually understand it, everyone to have abundance. Everyone. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. These people are not peaceful. They say one thing and do another. The United Nations wants to invade our country in the guise of peace, because we are the terrorists of the world. Our country, has created chaos to bring a new world order, and the United Nations is front row and center of bringing it in. We are a problem because, well, most of us, let's say some of us are a problem, but nevertheless, it's not about, they've gotten a plan and they're going to execute it. So we need oh my God. We need to come together, really, in strong partnership, so that we can bring peace to this world and justice to those that actually deserve it. And that's everyone. We're all in a war here. And so their partnership for the goals is basically all the other things that are connected to all these institutions that are going to bring about this new world order. BT, Huawei, you know, 5G, all those people that are doing the 5G chips, the RFID microchips, you know, the companies that's helped spread the nano smart dust that's in your head, the people in charge of the corrupt education system, the corrupt, unfortunate, you know, doctors, GP system, the food industry, those people that have helped build those smart cities, poison the waters. So this is it. This is what they want to do. However, all the solutions rest in creation and knowledge from the ancient past, the pyramids and frequencies. We can have a better world just like we had before, where we had a matriarchal one world culture based on peace, prosperity, abundance, where we all looked after each other. Kind of like still what the tribes lived like for the majority in matriarchal society. Their stories are the same, passed down for generation across the earth. It has meaning. It means these people know the truth and they've stuck by it. A lot of them have been murdered. So many have been murdered, in fact, for colonization, for what we have built in this civilization. It's all going to come to an end soon. It's just a matter of whether you've repented for your sins or not. Wherever you go, to hell or heaven. Because death is just the beginning. And you have to put the work in this life for what you want to get out in the next. So be a bright light in this very dark world, as you are the rainbow. You must know truth to vibrate white, bright light. And that is how you get your halo. This is a time of ascension, and you can, through multiple means, get to the truth, which will allow you to get your abilities, your soul abilities. I want so many of you to do that, so you can help us prosper again. What's something we could do? So thank you very much for watching. Please share, like, subscribe.